Welcome, I'm Dr. Victoria Jewel Hart, and I'm coming to you from an outside event, and we're recording, so I ask that you appreciate the sounds of nature that may be behind me. We will be speaking on the law of forgiveness. I'd like to share Psalm 19:14, and I'd ask us to bow our heads in prayer. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. Unquote. I give credit for all my messages from my many studies in world religions, yet mainly to the Bible, A Course in Miracles, and the Law of Life studies. I'd like to open up with a quote from Lord Herbert. He that cannot forgive others breaks the bridge over which he must pass himself, for every man has a need to be forgiven. Unquote. One of my favorite authors, Wayne Dyer, speaks deeply on an experience in his book, You'll See It When You Believe It. He is quoted by saying, quote, one of the most poignant, memorable covers of a national magazine appeared several years back. It was the picture of John Paul II sitting in a dungeon with the man who attempted to assassinate him. That portrait of forgiveness with the Pope left a lasting impression on me. People whom we consider role models of decency always are able to forgive without qualification or doubt. They do not cloud their consciousness with thoughts of anger, hatred, and revenge toward those who have attempted to wrong him. Rather, they provide us with a role model of forgiveness that we can use in our daily lives. Unquote. When Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated, he instinctively threw up his hand in a Hindu gesture of forgiveness. Gandhi understood what truth was about, and he could never have said, quote, the weak cannot forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong, unquote. Another important law of life states that we must forgive ourselves and others if we wish to overcome certain difficulties and make real spiritual progress. The significance of forgiveness may not be obvious at first, but surely it is by happenstance that every great spiritual teacher has strongly insisted on the attribute of forgiveness. I'm sure we all could agree to that. Developing the ability to forgive when wrongdoings occur can be crucial to our health as well as to the quality of our human relationships. The accumulation of resentments and the buildup of the urge to revenge are among the most destructive tendencies to abide in the human mind. We can develop the spiritual habit of cleansing our personalities of these emotional toxins as soon as they are experienced. If we harbor the memory of hurt or wrong, real or imagined, it is the time to release it and let it go. An African proverb is quoted, he who forgives ends the quarrel, unquote. We can speak of releasing or letting go from two perspectives. One perspective recommends that we immediately release any upsetting feeling of the moment. Sometimes we judge others and put them into a prison of our own mind. If we review our own life, we may have committed similar offenses in the past. You know, they say, life is just a mirror. Since life is constantly changing, there is no need to hold on tightly to anything. For example, trying to grasp on or hold on to happiness does not really bring happiness, but a sure way to bring misery. Unquote. Robert Mueller is quoted by saying, to forgive is the highest, most beautiful form of love. Unquote. Another perspective is to let go of or surrender attachment to the ego. If you're listening to this, apparently, I would assume by now you kind of know pretty much what the ego is. It's like easing God out is what the acronym stands for. From the perspective of the universal oneness, the ego struggles to maintain the illusion of separate existence. In truth, letting go of the ego and releasing any sense of struggle could be the same. When we give up the struggle to prove that we are worthy of love or approval, when we allow the life force energy to flow clear and clean within us, when we let go of the struggle to justify our existence, we often find meaningful and fulfilling avenues of service. When we release the struggle to hold on to limited beliefs and concepts of how things, quote unquote, should be, We free ourselves to enjoy life in its many expressions. The spiritual power of forgiveness can vanquish any tendency to resent being wronged. Resentment is self-centered and rooted in our own wounded feelings. We have a wonderful model of forgiveness available when we look at how often and how fully the Creator forgives us. During his ministry, Jesus was asked, "How often should we forgive?" unquote. He responded in Matthew 18:22, 70 times 7, unquote. In other words, there is no limit to forgiveness. It is an ongoing process. In another gospel, Jesus made the statement, quote, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do," unquote, in Luke 23:34. Can you perceive that people who are inflicting harm on others really and truly may not know what they are doing? What they may be directing toward others says nothing about the other person, but their actions can speak volumes about their own anger, hatred, blame, or desire for revenge. From this example, we can learn an important lesson about forgiveness. People who have behaved toward us in a disagreeable or hurtful manner may not realize that everyone is connected. Once we know within our hearts that we are connected to others, including those who may behave in unseemly ways, we have a key to the power of forgiveness. This awareness can prompt an increasingly ability to forgive. Forgiveness has been described as a process similar to peeling an onion. It is done in layers. When we come upon a new layer or aspect of our being where some resentment appears, there is more work to do. This does not mean our previous work with forgiveness was not effective. All effort is meaningful. We simply need to continue the forgiveness process. As we grow, our process of forgiveness grows as well. Do we want an inner poise and grace that cannot be disturbed, a gentleness that cannot be hurt, a deep abiding comfort and a rest so perfect that it cannot never be upset? Forgiveness, giving up the false for the truth, offers the fulfillment of these desires and more. In closing, I'd like to quote Sri Chinmoy, quote, "If those around us make mistakes, we could easily offer them our compassion, since God is constantly showering his compassion upon us." And in closing, I'd like to give, believe there is a reason for you to be. Believe in yourself as I truly believe in you. Thank you for listening and tuning in.